Now the moment you've all been waiting for. I monitor who clicks on what on our eBlast invitations, and by far the most clicked on link is the L4BZF1 something Sony FZ to PL mount adapter, which is standing over here to my right. Let's check it out. Okay. I can't tell you how many of my clients have said, Jesse, I would love to own a PMWF55, but I have this barrier because I invested $30, $60, $90,000 in high definition 2/3 inch glass, and I need to be able to zoom on my super 35mm camera. Well, that's exactly what this adapter does. So on the back end, we've got the Sony PMWF5. On the front end, I've got a Canon HJ11x4.3, super duper awesome wide angle lens, right? Back end, Sony PMWF55. Front end, Canon HJ11x4.3. What do I have in the middle? That is Sony's L4BFZ1. L4BFZ1, we're going to call it for now. And you can see that the plug from my Canon broadcast lens goes directly into this Sony adapter. So the Sony adapter sits in the FZ mount. It won't work on any PL mount lens, only on the Sony FZ mounts. And then on the front end, it's your standard bayonet mount B4 adapter, okay? So check this out. When I plunge on the zoom ring, you can see it's flying back and forth. So we actually have electronic zoom. That's done because the adapter here has those little hot pod mounts. So the adapter mates to the electronic plates right on the FZ mount of the camera. So there's communication and power back and forth between the camera and the adapter. Now, you might be saying to yourself, uh-oh, what about chromatic aberration? Well, the engineers at Sony have solved for chromatic aberration. So long as your lens has a feature called ALAC2, ALAC2, or AFLAC as we like to call it, the adapter is going to automatically detect what kind of lens you've got, and it's going to automatically correct both in the horizontal and in the vertical space for chromatic aberration. So if you've got a Fujinon HA14 lens, a Canon HJ14 lens, some of these newer HD glass, this adapter is going to pick it up. Bad news if you haven't updated your lens since the HA13x4.5 from Sony that does not have that ALAC2 property that allows the Sony adapter to pick it up. However, the later HD glass, and you can always call Midtown Video to find out if your lens is on the list, is going to be picked up automatically by this adapter, and it will therefore automatically compensate for chromatic aberration. Pretty sweet. So now the next questions on your mind are, Jesse, how much light am I going to lose? Well, a 2/3 inch chip is roughly 2.5 times smaller than a super 35mm chip. Therefore, you're going to lose about 2.5 stops of light. It's just a law of physics here, nothing we can do about it. Luckily, the sensitivity on the PMWF5 and the PMWF55 is so much that it almost doesn't even matter. Verge, can we go to this camera here? You could tell how much light is in the studio by, yeah, there we go. So have I lost 2.5 stops of light? Maybe. Does it matter? Is it killing my image? Definitely not. You can see in the top of the viewfinder here, my ISO is set to about 4,000. Okay, that's a pretty high ISO. Let's just drop that down a little bit. Something more reasonable, like there we are. We're at an 800 ISO now. Even still, let's zoom in on this box here. You can still pretty much see everything you want. So why would somebody want to pop their glass onto a PMWF55? Maybe you're shooting reality television and you've got to do some run and gun stuff. So if that's the case, pop this off of your tripod, throw it up on your shoulder, bam, and there you are. So now I can zoom in, whoop, zoom out, and follow around my reality television show clients real easy. Something special's going on. Zoom in real quick, Previously, you were only limited to kind of cinematic lenses like prime lenses or super gigantic PL zoom lenses. But now we've solved that problem, and you can actually do run and gun type work with your PMWF5. Now we had Mr. Tom Brunstetter, DP from Paradise Video, slated to come on the show tonight. He wasn't able to make it due to illness, and we're going to try to get him on a later show. But one of his favorite things to do now that he has his badass Sony 2/3 inch adapter is follow a client around with this camera on his shoulder. It's made easy. There are a few things that are important to know about it. Number one, that you lose those 2.5 stops of light, but you're probably also thinking to yourself, Jesse, what kind of crop factor am I going to suffer? I'm starting off with a 2/3 inch lens. I'm ending up on a 35mm chip. What's the zoom factor? Does anybody know?
You do.
I actually do know the answer to that. It's 1. If you've got an 11 by 4.5, so you've got a 4.5mm wide lens, because of the magnification and the optics inside this adapter, when you put it on the 35mm glass, it is a 4.5mm focal length on 35. If you've got a 40mm focal length on 2/3 inch, 40mm focal length on the super 35mm glass. This blows me away. I've seen other adapters out there that will take a 2/3 inch lens and sort of mate it to the camera, but the zoom factor is incredible. An 11 turns into something like a 35, right? You lose any hope of width and you lose a whole lot of light. On this adapter, you don't lose any focal length. It's amazing. I don't know how they did it, but our friends up at Sony assure us, and you can tell from some of the test footage you've seen here, you don't lose any width. Your millimeter focal length on the 2/3 inch end is identical to the millimeter focal length on the super 35mm end, which is I think, totally amazing. Let's see what else we're missing out here. It's an LAF-ZB1. So, oh yeah, you know what? LAF-ZB1. That actually makes perfect sense. You know why? It's a lens adapter going from FZ to a B4 mount. It made sense up until the 1. If it was an LAF-ZB4, there's a version 2. Okay. There's one other thing that you might be saying to yourself, well, if I'm a run-and-gun videographer making reality television, and we love you guys for doing it, absolutely, keep it up. One of the things that you need is auto iris, right? So you could flip your lens into auto iris and go from outside to inside or inside to outside and not have to worry about your f-stop. Currently, they are incompatible, but our friends at Sony have a target date of December 27th, 2 weeks from now, 1 week from now. Next Friday, I think that is, they're going to have a new firmware upgrade for the camera. It's going to be firmware upgrade 3.0, and among the other awesome things, it's going to give you automatic iris so that the f55 can control the iris on your Canon and Fujinon 2/3 inch zoom lenses, as long as you've got this lens adapter. I think that's totally brilliant. It's definitely going to make the f55 and f5 way more accessible to the run-and-gun shooter, so long as you end up purchasing your lens adapter from Midtown Video. Yes, we have them in stock. Make sure to get a hold of us. And look forward to that firmware upgrade. Apart from the auto iris feature, they're also going to give you a little bit of lens return functionality. Now, we're not going to have any video coming into the camera, so it's not going to be like a live video return, but it might do something like play your last clip. Okay? The engineers at Sony always working very hard to make fantastic products. If you have questions or want to get your hands on this camera for your own personal demonstration, make sure to call your buddies at Midtown Video. We have all the stuff and we know how to use it.